So, you've heard of the Trojan War, right? Big wooden horse, Brad Pitt, all that jazz. The Greeks won. Hooray. The big hero of the whole scheme was this guy Odysseus, king of Ithaca and the smartest dude in the room. After 10 years of war, all he wanted to do was go home to his wife, Penelope, and his son. A simple commute, right? What could possibly go wrong? Well, everything. Literally everything. This is the story of the worst commute in human history. This is the Odyssey. So Odysseus and his fleet of ships set sail, feeling pretty good about themselves. Their first few stops are a bit of a mess. They raid a city, get chased out, and get blown off course by a storm sent by the gods, who were, let's just say, not his biggest fans right now. Their first weird stop is the land of the Lotus Eaters. Sounds nice, right? It's an island where the locals just chill out all day eating this magical flower that makes you forget everything. Your home, your family, your dental appointment, everything. A few of Odysseus's men try it and are instantly like, I live here now. Odysseus has to literally drag them back to the ship while they're shouting. But the vibes are immaculate, man. Next up, they land on another island. It looks deserted, except for some caves and a lot of sheep. Odysseus, being the curious guy he is, takes a few men to explore a particularly big cave. Turns out, it's not deserted. It's the home of a cyclops, a giant, one-eyed monster named Polyphemus who is not happy to see them. He rolls a giant boulder in front of the entrance and just eats two of Odysseus's men. For a snack, Odysseus is trapped. He can't fight the cyclops. He's huge. So he uses his brain. He offers the cyclops some super strong wine. The cyclops loves it and asks for Odysseus's name. Odysseus, thinking on his feet, says, My name is Nobody. The cyclops passes out drunk, and Odysseus and his men take a giant wooden stake, sharpen it, heat it in the fire, and jam it right into his one eye. The cyclops wakes up screaming, Nobody is killing me. Nobody is blinding me. The other cyclopes on the island hear him, shout back, Well, if nobody's hurting you, shut up, and go back to sleep. Genius. To escape, they tie themselves to the bellies of the cyclops' giant sheep. The next morning, the blind cyclops lets his sheep out to graze, and our heroes sneak out with them. But then, Odysseus makes a huge mistake. As they're sailing away, his ego gets the best of him. He shouts back, Just so you know, it was I, Odysseus, who blinded you. Which is the ancient Greek equivalent of posting your crime on Instagram. The Cyclops, who happens to be the son of Poseidon, god of the sea, prays to his dad for revenge. So now, Odysseus has the god of the ocean actively trying to kill him. This is going to make the boat ride difficult. Their next stop is the island of Aeolus, the god of winds. He's a pretty cool guy and gives Odysseus a gift, a bag containing all the winds, except for the gentle west wind that will blow them home. The one rule? Don't open the bag. They're literally inside of Ithaca. They can see their houses. Odysseus finally falls asleep, and his crew, convinced the bag is full of gold, immediately opens it. Whoosh! All the storm winds escape and blow them all the way back to where they started. His crew was the worst. Things go from bad to so much worse. They land on the island of the Laestrygonians, who are basically giant cannibals. They smash all the ships and eat most of the crew. Odysseus escapes with just one ship left. Next, he lands on the island of Circe, a beautiful witch who invites his men to a feast. They go, and she promptly turns them all into pigs. When Odysseus goes to save them, he's stopped by the god Hermes, who gives him a magical herb to resist her spells. He confronts Circe, who is shocked when her magic doesn't work. Defeated, she turns his men back into humans and Odysseus ends up staying with her for a whole year. I guess she was a really good hostess? Before he can leave, Circe tells him he has to go to the underworld to get directions from a dead prophet. So he takes a quick detour to hell. He chats with some ghosts, sees his dead mom, and finally gets his directions. Okay, the home stretch. But first, he has to get past the sirens, creatures whose beautiful singing makes sailors crash their ships into the rocks. Odysseus has his crew plug their ears with beeswax, but he wants to hear the song. So he has them tie him to the mast of the ship with orders not to untie him no matter what. He hears the song and goes completely insane, begging to be released, but his crew just rows on. Then comes the final exam. Scylla and Charybdis. On one side is Scylla, a six-headed monster that snatches sailors from their ships. On the other is Charybdis, a giant whirlpool that will swallow the whole ship. He has to choose. He sails closer to Scylla, who eats 6 of his men, but the rest of the ship makes it through. A horrible choice, but he made it. Finally, they land on the island of the sun god, Helios. The one rule? Do not touch his sacred cattle. After a month stuck on the island, his starving crew does the one thing he told them not to do. They have a barbecue. The sun god complains to Zeus, who blasts their ship with a thunderbolt. Everyone dies, except Odysseus. He floats alone on a piece of wreckage for days until he washes up on the island of Calypso, a beautiful nymph who keeps him there as her immortal boy toy for 7 years. Eventually, the gods feel sorry for him and force Calypso to let him go. He builds a raft, sails home, and finally, after 20 years, he's back in Ithaca. But it's not over. His palace is filled with over 100 arrogant suitors, all trying to marry Penelope and take his kingdom. He arrives disguised as an old beggar to see who's still loyal. Penelope, who is just as clever as he is, announces a final challenge for the suitors. Whoever can string Odysseus' old bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axe heads can marry her. All the suitors try and fail. They can't even bend the bow. Then the old beggar asks for a try. The suitors laugh at him, but he takes the bow, strings it effortlessly, and makes the impossible shot. He then drops the disguise. I'm back. And then, it's a slaughterhouse. With the help of his son and a few loyal servants, Odysseus kills every single suitor. After a very long, very bloody reunion, he's finally back where he belongs, with his wife, his son, and his kingdom. The man who survived monsters, witches, gods, and a 7-year-long forced vacation was finally home. And you thought your commute was bad?